Well, howdy there, Internet people. It's Belle again, and welcome to The Roads with Belle. Today is October 3rd, 2024, and today we're going down the roads to your questions. And it's mostly a fun day as we move into the last month of the election season. On this date in 1990, Germany was reunified. Yeah, that was 34 years ago. Feel old? I feel old. Before we get into your questions, though, I'd like to remind everybody that it is now October. So don't forget to get in the right mood. There will certainly be themed stuff going on this month. And starting off, we're going to talk about something that we got tons of questions about. More and more news outlets are starting to deploy paywalls. Both CNN and Reuters have made an announcement of some form about this. Yes, this is a huge concern because it's part of a growing trend that ends up reducing and curtailing the flow of information. We've had a lot of questions about how we intend on handling it and if there's anything we could do. I'm not being sarcastic when I say this. I love that people are turning to us to pick up the slack for CNN and Reuters. So we have The Roads Not Taken, and we have introduced the Interstate series, which is the roundup of state-level news. We have the Research Roads, which covers science and tech news, and, of course, The Roads Not Taken. We're working on some other things for international affairs, and we're going to step up our efforts in providing a wider range of news. So please just bear with us as we bring everything online. We also had a ton of questions about how to help with the devastation from the hurricane. There will be a whole bunch of info in the description of this video with various ways you can help no matter where you're at. If you get involved, remember the first rule of relief. Don't create another victim. Please be safe. Why do you say over there instead of saying what it's about? I assume it's like Bo not saying pandemic, but I just don't get it. A lot of bots and human trolls on YouTube scan titles that have those hot topics. The reason our comment section isn't full of hateful people is because of little things like that. It reduces our views, but we don't really want to profit off of that anyway. We get the information out to our core viewers, but we don't get swamped with bad actors. I never hear stories about people actually using their emergency kits. It makes me wonder if they just provide a false sense of security. Well, it's like airbags and seatbelts. When they work, you don't hear about them. They don't make the news. I can remember reading messages from people when the infrastructure in Texas failed because of the cold and the people were without power. A lot of them were just talking about how they had the stuff to build a fire or whatever because having the kits were already put together. And then a whole bunch of people who were able to get the information about how to preserve heat by building the weird pillow fort that Bo talks about. But beyond that, putting the kit together, it forces you to think about it and change your mindset, which makes it easier to improvise in a disaster. You don't hear about people with kits being okay because it isn't newsworthy, not when you have other people suffering. Can you give Dana her own channel or extend her show or something? I know a lot of people hate the synthetic voice, but whatever, their loss. I'm 24 and I think she's younger too. No offense, but I'd love to be able to ask her questions that aren't science and tech related. That would be up to her, but I'm sure she'll get the message. She might be up for it. We're working on a whole lot of stuff. And I am sure if she really wants to commit, I'm not really sure if she really wants to commit to more, especially a whole channel. But I could be wrong. So I don't think she'd mind getting questions that were not necessarily science and tech. And I think that Dee mentioned you can email us and just put the name in the title. But I'll talk to her about it and see, what she thinks. And we'll let you know. After the debate, Vance came off as kind of normal. Is he that more polished, fashy guy we've been warned about? Maybe. But I'd also say that since he's tied himself with Trump in the way that he has, that if Trump fails, he fails. The key thing is for Trump to lose in big numbers at the polls. So the political bosses have to see that this kind of rhetoric and authoritarian behavior isn't a winning strategy. Is the evidence released by Smith going to have an impact on his supporters? We have a video going over some of what was released. I'm not sure. The impact depends on people who were conned by Trump admitting that they were conned. It's really hard for people to admit that he isn't what they thought he was. It'll probably have a bigger impact on people who aren't big Trump supporters. Those who are just party line voters or those people who are independent. How old is Dee? She sounds so young. Is she your daughter? She is younger, but not young enough to be my daughter. Old enough to have a nose ring and tattoos. So, she's younger than me, but not that young. Can we get a sci-fi episode hosted by Dana for Halloween and a scary story one hosted by you? Maybe. We'll definitely be doing Halloween stuff. I'm not sure what you mean by scary story. Like me tell a scary story or read a scary story? I don't know. I'm totally down, and I'll see what Dana's got, and we'll let you know. So Harris is pulling ahead nationally, but in battleground states, they seem really close. What should she do? Because those numbers don't seem to be changing. The election is going to be decided by who can actually get out the vote. Whose supporters encourage their friends to vote. It's all about turnout in battleground states. Every state is within the margin of error. So it's up to voters in battleground states to deliver the victory. Those voters in non-battleground states still need to show up in greater numbers to demonstrate Trumpism is not a winning strategy. But it's down to the vote now. And voter turnout. After the election, are you going to put out more philosophical and cultural videos? I'm really curious to see how you and Bo differ on those topics. Yes, we'll be putting out some more fun stuff and a lot more environmental, international, and community networking stuff. It's election time. There are so many other things I would rather be talking about. But it'll just have to wait. We're in an incredibly important election cycle that impacts just all of our other topics. The election stuff is what's on top. What's your favorite sci-fi author? Just based on the answers the other day on Research Road, I'm wondering about you. I'm kind of a basic person on this. I like Ray Bradbury for pure sci-fi, but really, I like the way scary movies explore a lot of the same topics and themes. Yeah, I'm sorry. I feel totally basic on that. But we've had a whole lot of questions so far this week. We'll add some more at the end of this week's Roads Not Taken episode, But that looks like all we're getting through today. So there you go. A little more information, a little more context, and having the right information will make all the difference. Y'all have a good day.